Hey everybody, this is my 20-gallon open top tank I've got in my fish room in the basement, and today we're going to get in there and do a simple water change. It's going to be basically a before and after video, but I'm also going to set the camera up while I do the water change, and I'm going to show you the work I'm doing while I'm in there. I will be wiping the glass down, but I will be doing that after the fact, because I don't want to get all of the stuff that's on the bottom all stirred up and swirled up, because that's my main goal today, is to get in there with the gravel vac and start collecting up all of that crud you can see piling up back there. The idea of having this deep substrate sand is that all of that mulm over time is supposed to break down and decompose and work its way down into the gravel, and eventually I'll have something that resembles more or less natural dirt that has basically built up in the tank over time, and it's a result of all of this natural waste product sort of breaking down and deteriorating and just sort of sifting its way down into the substrate. So that's all well and good, but I mean, it's not going down into the substrate, it just piles up. And so I leave it there for as long as I can tolerate it, but every now and again I just really have to get in there and do a water change and vac some of that out. So we are going to do that today. We're going to get my gravel vac. I'm not going to scrunch it down into the gravel and disturb the substrate a whole lot, but we are going to get in there and just remove a bunch of that freestanding loose stuff that's sitting on the bottom of the tank. Alright, so as I said, we're just going to use the regular gravel vac. And we should be removing an awful lot of stuff out of here. So I think of this more like vacuuming the carpet than I think about actually vacuuming the gravel. When I think about doing a real gravel vacuuming, I think about like scrunching it down. The whole purpose of doing a gravel vac is to clean the gravel. It's to clean the stuff out of the gravel itself as it builds up in there. And this is not really doing that. I don't want to take the stuff out of the gravel. I just want to take the stuff off of the surface of the gravel. And it's important to get back in this corner while the water is still deep enough to get the mouth of the siphon up over this piece of wood. I'm trying to keep this in the light so you can see what's going on as I do this. Got all kinds of stuff in this corner here. And this doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, you can see how much stuff I'm actually removing out of here. So if it's a 75 or 80% reduction in the crud that's on the bottom of the tank, that's fine. I don't have to get it spick and span and perfectly clean. That's not my goal. I just want to get it cleaned up some so that it's not, you know, an inch deep in crud on the bottom of the tank like it's sort of working its way towards being now. I really feel like my siphon is not drawing water out as fast as it should be. I don't feel like I'm getting very much of a suction on here. So I'm wondering if I'm not a little bit clogged up already from the last time I used this. I should have maybe cleaned out the gravel vac beforehand. But that's alright, because we're getting the job done. Of course, the more I vac through it, the more stuff is getting caught up in it. So I've only got about half a bucket full at this point, believe it or not. But I also think we're pretty much good. I got about as much out of there as I wanted. So remember to keep the water from just sloshing back into the tank when you pull it out. Most of these have this sort of angled end on them. You see it comes off at a 45-degree angle, and that is designed to curl around, and you just curl it around like that, lift it up out of the tank, and you let the last little bit of the water, again, you can see how slowly it's draining through there because of the crud that's clogged in there. But that's how you pull it up out of the tank without having that water that's trapped in there flush back into the tank and disturb everything again. So alright, I'm going to stop filming there. We will skip right to the before and after segment, because all I'm going to do, well, you know what, if I got you here this long and I've got the pad right here in my hand, I might as well go ahead and we'll get the glass wiped down, because this will only take a moment on a tiny little tank like this. And if you're not familiar with what I'm using to wipe the glass down here, this is a piece of a melamine sponge that is the same as the Magic Eraser brand, but the melamine sponge is just what it actually is rather than the brand name. I do have these available on my Amazon storefront. If you're interested in it, I buy the large sponges. I buy the generic melamine sponges. As I said, they're much cheaper than buying the name brand Magic Eraser, but it's the exact same product. And then once you get the large sponges, you can cut them down into smaller slices, and you wind up having these nice little pads that you can use to clean your aquarium glass with, and they do a great job of getting the glass cleaned up. And there you go. So you can see there's still a bunch of stuff swirling around in the tank. We did not by any means get the water clear, but once we get the tank filled back up, I got a new filter on there, we get it flowing again, it'll look fine. So let's let that happen, and I will see you for the after in just a moment. On the bottom of the tank. So we will consider that your before. And there's your after. So not a whole lot to talk about. You saw everything we did while we were in there. You can see we got the bottom cleared out a little bit. You can actually see the texture of the gravel now. Of course, we did leave behind a lot of the grunge and stuff that was in there, but we got the bulk of it out, and that's all I was really concerned about. Got the glass wiped down. I did not wipe the outside of the glass down. I probably could have done that, but it doesn't really seem like I've got any drips or runs on it, so I'm not too concerned about that. As far as the filter goes, I cleaned out the filter pad itself. So we put a new pad in, and then I took the black sponge filter there in the front, which is a biofilter. I pulled that out. I got that all cleaned out because that was all gross and grungy and everything. And then the intake here, the little plastic tube that the water flows through, I pulled that off, and I got that all cleaned out. You'll get bio growth and crud and stuff will develop in there over time, and sometimes you need to pull that out and get that cleaned out, so I did that as well. And so that's about it. I didn't do any water testing or anything. I just wanted to get some of that crud off the bottom that was annoying me, and I needed to top the tank off anyway because I keep this tank fairly warm. I don't know what the actual temperature is in this tank, but it's reasonably warm because of my German Blue Ram in there. I think I kind of set this tank up to be a bit warmer than most. So yeah, we're sitting at 81.1 degrees. That's actually warmer than my discus tank. My discus are sitting in here at 79.5 degrees. So I've actually got this little 20-gallon tank warmer than my discus tank. So I'm probably going to bump that temperature down now that I see how warm it is. Knowing that makes perfect sense why I lose so much water to evaporation out of this tank. It is open top, and I do have a fan at the other end of the room which blows air down this end just to keep air circulating around the room. So there is some air movement on the surface, and with the temperature being over 80 degrees, I do lose a lot of water to evaporation in this tank. So we're going to go ahead and turn that temperature down just a little bit. So there you go. There is a look both before and after at my little 20-gallon tank. If you're wondering what the fish are, those are little ember tetras, or embers tetras. Got some red wag platies in there, a couple of guppies, and then of course we've got the German Blue Ram, and then there's some nearite snails that are currently buried under the substrate So there you go, everybody. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that one. Make sure you're subscribed. You don't want to miss anything I got coming up. You never know what it's going to be with me. And don't forget, of course, I do a live stream every Friday night and Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, so you don't want to miss that. So thanks for watching. I'll see you real soon in the next one.